Now in this video, I know it may look a little bit intimidating, but we're going to do our best to be as clear as possible. Now, with paraphrase strategy, you remember that we're going to follow a very step-by-step structure, formula, strategy to determine our answer. So this may look confusing, but you may guess that this here is an example of a highlighted sentence that you'd be asked about in a paraphrase question. So the question would basically say, choose an answer that repeats this information best, right? So I hope that makes sense so far. Now, you know that the first step is to read the entire sentence in bold quickly to get a general idea of what it means. Now, you see that we have numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, you've just read about clauses, right? Clauses are groups of words that have a subject and a verb connected to it. So each of these numbers represents a clause. I just did this so it can be visually easier for you to grab this formulaic nature that if you follow, you're really going to have an easier time with paraphrase. So 1 is just a simple clause, 2 is a simple clause, and 3 is a simple clause. So this can be, since I'm hungry, I'm going to eat, which is nice, and I like it, and I'm going to drink too. Something like that, right? So don't worry too much about the example that I gave, but I just want you to understand that these represent clauses. So the first step we've already done. Since 1, 2, which 3 and 4, and 5. So what does that mean? That means since 1 is giving extra information about the main clause. 2 and 5 are the major pieces of information. And which 3 and 4, separated by commas, is extra information that talks about 2, right? Which is an adjective clause that describes something in the clause represented by the number 2. I've given them different colors just to make it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so we've done step 1, read the sentence. Now what's step 2? Read the main independent clause and nothing else. Make sure to identify and understand its subject, verb, and object. Well, here remember, we have 2. We have 2 and 5. 3, 4, and 1 are extra pieces of information. So if we were to isolate our independent clauses, we would just see this. Now, what do? Well, you remember when I talked about using grammar basics in Noteful's paraphrase strategy, that with a more complex sentence, you just go through it in order. So we check the first clause, which is 2. We want to make sure that the answer choices have that information because remember, 2 and 5 are the most important. If our answer choice doesn't have the information in 2 and 5, how can it possibly be a summary? So we look at our answer choices and we see that A has 1, so 2. Alright, so I see 2, A stays. B, 2. Okay, don't even need to read the rest. 2 stays. B stays because it has 2. C, 1, so 5, and 2. Okay, has 2, it stays. D, since 1, 2 stays. So we have eliminated no answer choices. 5 is also an independent main clause, so that's an important piece of information. Our answer better have that. And visually, you can get a quick idea. Answer choice A does not have 5. Answer choice B, C, and D all do. So we're able to eliminate one answer just by looking at the independent clauses. Now there is some complexity to this. You do know that synonyms can be used. You do know that they can change active voice to passive voice. They can play with grammar. But this is just a visual, simple representation of the strategy of paraphrase. So don't get lost in the more advanced, complex ideas before you get rooted and understand the basics. The next step is to read the next most important clause in the highlighted sentence carefully. So we've already taken care of the most important information, 2 and 5, in the order that it appeared. Now this extra information, right? We'll just separate it out, 1, 3, and 4. So all we have to do is look at 1. Now here's something important. 1 is connected to the main information with the word since. And since establishes a cause and effect relationship. Since is connected to the cause, right? Since I'm hungry, I ate. Since is the cause. Hunger is the cause of eating. So here you see since 1. Perfect. And then in C, you just see 1. But you see so 5 and 2. This carries the same meaning, right? Since I'm hungry, I ate. I'm hungry, so I ate. Something along those lines, right? I was hungry, so I ate. And then what you see here is that that's how the TOEFL can trick you a little bit. So these are synonymous meanings. So we keep C so far. And then we have D, since one. Okay, perfect. So that doesn't help us eliminate anything. Then we have the extra piece of information, which 3. Visually, you can see that 3 is everywhere, right? And then we say and 4. So what do? We know that 4 is contained only in B and C, so we can eliminate D. So we see that C and B remain. Bringing back our main sentence, we see a unique relationship. Since 1, 2, then some extra information about 2 and 5. So since is actually modifying, you can say, both 2 and 5, because these are the main clauses, right? Since I'm hungry, I ate breakfast, and I had dessert, right? Now, if you look at B, 2 and 5 are separate. And if you see, and actually connects 5 with since. So it's like saying since 1 and 5, 2. So this is creating a false meaning, because instead of number 5 being the main thing you're talking about, it becomes an extra piece of information. So here you know that since is the cause and 2 and 5 are the effect. But we've changed the meaning. Now 1 and 5 are the cause and 2 is the effect. So even though it has all pieces of information, you still have to be alert. And so we delete it. And then the only answer that remains is C. I hope this makes sense. If this video isn't clear, just review and it will become clear, especially as you continue through the program. So good luck, and I hope you enjoyed.